Carol Burnett is a name that resonates with warmth, humor, and resilience across America. She became known not only for her iconic television show, but also for her genuine personality that seemed to light up every room she entered. From her early beginnings in Hollywood, she captivated audiences with her talent and charm. Yet, behind the laughter and the bright lights, Burnett faced conflicts and challenges that shaped her both as a performer and a person. Throughout her long career, she encountered men who, in various ways, caused her pain, disappointment, or frustration. These men were not strangers. They were colleagues, co-stars, and even those closest to her, whose actions left a mark on both her professional life and personal world. Some of them betrayed her trust, some underestimated her ability, and some simply failed to respect her boundaries. Despite the fame, awards, and adoration she received, these incidents revealed the challenges that even the most beloved celebrities can face when working in an industry driven by egos, ambition, and power. In a rare interview during her 90s with Rolling Stone, Burnett reflected candidly on these relationships, revealing the men she disliked the most and sharing the lessons she learned from them. She spoke not with bitterness, but with a calm honesty that reflected a life fully lived and a woman who learned how to maintain dignity, kindness, and humor, even in the face of adversity. This article explores those conflicts, providing a behind-the-scenes look at some of Hollywood's most famous stories, from tense show rehearsals to personal betrayals and public humiliations, and how Burnett emerged stronger each time. The relationship between Carol Burnett and her co-star Harvey Korman is legendary in television history. Together, they created a moment of comedy that millions of viewers loved and remembered. Their chemistry on The Carol Burnett Show was undeniable. For years, they appeared to be the perfect duo, complementing each other's talents and bringing laughter to countless homes. Yet, behind the cameras, the partnership was not always smooth. By 1974, after 7 successful seasons of the show, tensions began to rise. Harvey Korman reportedly felt overshadowed by Burnett's talent and popularity, which led to frustration and irritation on set. Costume designer Bob Mackie recalled that Korman became increasingly short-tempered, sometimes avoiding Burnett altogether during rehearsals. One particularly notable incident occurred during the filming of an episode featuring guest singer Petula Clark. A lighting error left Korman in shadow during a key scene, and he reacted by abruptly stopping mid-performance, throwing his script on the floor, and loudly criticizing the crew. The director tried to calm him, but Korman's anger continued, even suggesting that Burnett herself failed to notice his frustrations. This moment marked a turning point in their relationship. Burnett, known for her kindness and professionalism, did not lash out or react impulsively. Instead, she calmly walked onto the stage, looked Korman in the eye, and said, "Harvey, I've had enough. If you can't respect everyone here, you don't need to be here anymore." The studio fell silent. Korman left, and for a brief time, it seemed as though the show might be affected by this rupture. Yet Burnett's composure and leadership ensured that production continued smoothly, demonstrating not only her talent as a performer, but also her strength as a leader. Later, Korman did return to the show after apologizing, but the incident left a permanent mark on their friendship, showing that even in a world of comedy, conflict and egos can create real challenges. While the tension with Harvey Korman revolved around professional differences, Burnett's personal life presented a different set of challenges. Her marriage to Joe Hamilton, a seasoned producer and her partner behind the scenes of The Carol Burnett Show, began as a storybook romance, but eventually turned complicated and painful. They met when Burnett was a young performer on The Gary Moore Show, and Hamilton, 10 years her senior, was already an experienced producer in Hollywood. Their relationship blossomed, and by the time The Carol Burnett Show premiered, they were a celebrated power couple in television. For years, the duo balanced creative and personal responsibilities, with Burnett bringing warmth and Hamilton providing structure behind the scenes. However, the pressures of success, coupled with Hamilton's growing control over show content and guest lists, began to create distance between them. Rumors of infidelity surfaced, adding emotional strain to their already complicated relationship. By 1982, Burnett discovered that Hamilton had registered spin-off projects under his own name without crediting her, including the successful show Mama's Family, which was based on one of Burnett's sketches. This revelation marked the end of their partnership. Burnett confronted Hamilton, but his cold response emphasized business over personal connection, forcing her to take legal action. The divorce process was challenging, attracting significant media attention, and involved complex negotiations over creative rights and profits. Ultimately, Burnett retained the rights to the Carol Burnett Show's name and half the syndication profits, demonstrating her resilience and determination to protect her legacy. Despite the personal betrayal, she reflected on the experience with measured wisdom, noting that trust and respect are as vital as love in both personal and professional relationships. Even as Carol Burnett navigated professional conflicts and personal betrayals, there were moments when boundaries were tested in unexpected ways. One of the most unusual and unsettling experiences involved Hollywood legend Marlon Brando. By 1972, Brando had just captivated audiences worldwide with his performance in The Godfather, cementing his status as one of the most powerful actors of the era. Meanwhile, Burnett was at the height of her television career, beloved for her warmth, comedic timing, and the ability to bring ordinary characters to life. One quiet summer night, in the middle of July, Burnett was awakened by a phone call at her Los Angeles home. Groggy and unprepared for a personal conversation, she answered, only to hear Brando's unmistakable voice on the line. At first, she thought it might be a prank, but it became clear that Brando had watched a rerun of the Carol Burnett Show and wanted to speak directly with her. What started as a polite conversation about acting and television quickly began to veer into personal territory. Brando's charm, intellect, and intensity were undeniable, but his remarks grew increasingly intimate, causing Burnett discomfort. She handled the situation with remarkable poise, gently setting boundaries and ending the call, stating firmly that it was too late and that she had an early call the next morning. The incident sparked widespread attention in Hollywood, with gossip columns reporting on the unusual nature of the call and questioning the dynamics between the two stars. Burnett felt humiliated and frustrated that a personal late-night intrusion became a topic of public speculation, highlighting how even private moments could be distorted in the spotlight. From that night forward, she established a strict personal rule: no late-night calls, not even from colleagues or networks. The encounter with Brando became more than a mere anecdote. It was a lesson in maintaining personal boundaries and self-respect in industry that often blurred the lines between public and private life. It reinforced Burnett's ability to assert herself calmly and decisively, ensuring her dignity was preserved even when dealing with one of the world's most powerful actors. Over time, she continued to navigate Hollywood with grace, learning that respect and clear boundaries were as critical to success as talent or charisma. While some conflicts occurred behind closed doors, others played out publicly, demonstrating that even the most adored celebrities could face criticism and condescension from peers. One notable instance involved Cary Grant, a Hollywood icon renowned for his charm and sophistication. By 1968, Burnett had firmly established herself as the queen of American television comedy, winning Emmys and captivating millions of viewers with her relatable humor. She was invited to a gala at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where Grant received a Lifetime Achievement Award. While the event should have been a celebration of talent and camaraderie, a single dismissive comment created tension that would linger in Burnett's memory. As she approached Grant to offer congratulations, he smirked and made a remark that undermined her style of humor, suggesting that audiences prefer refined comedy over her populist approach. Though the comment was brief, it sent ripples through the room, with some guests reacting awkwardly while others remained silent. Burnett maintained her composure, responding politely yet firmly that audiences valued humor rooted in real-life experiences, rather than perfection or pretense. Her measured response left a quiet but powerful impression. She would not allow condescension or arrogance to overshadow her work or her reputation. The story made headlines in entertainment sections, highlighting a rare clash between generations of Hollywood stars. While Grant never publicly apologized and Burnett avoided future collaborations, the incident underscored her resilience. Instead of reacting angrily, she continued to focus on her audience and her craft, proving that grace and professionalism often speak louder than words of criticism. This event also demonstrated the broader challenges faced by women in the entertainment industry, where their contributions could be undervalued or dismissed by those who fail to recognize the importance of empathy and relatability in comedy. For Burnett, such encounters reinforce the lessons learned from prior experiences. maintain dignity, prioritize creative integrity, and let success speak for itself. Despite decades of fame and critical acclaim, Carol Burnett faced systemic exclusion in certain areas of the entertainment industry, most notably with Saturday Night Live (SNL). Many found it surprising that the woman who paved the way for female-led comedy shows had never been invited to host a program, even as other television stars appeared regularly. The story of this exclusion begins in 1975, when SNL first aired from Studio 8H at Rockefeller Plaza in New York. At the time, Burnett was at the peak of her career, with The Carol Burnett Show entering its 8th season and ranking as the #1 program in the country. The SNL creator, Lorne Michaels, was shaping a new type of comedy, edgy, politically charged, and geared toward younger audiences, while Burnett symbolized warmth, humanity, and heartfelt humor. Discussions about potential guest hosts included Burnett's name, but Michaels reportedly dismissed the idea, asserting that her style did not fit the show's vision. Over the years, Burnett expressed interest in guest hosting, yet she received no formal invitations. The media occasionally reported on her potential appearances, creating public curiosity and frustration, but nothing changed for decades. While Burnett never publicly demanded a spot, she quietly felt undervalued and excluded from a generation-defining show. Even during appearances at award ceremonies where she and Michaels were both present, the interactions were marked by polite distance, underscoring a professional yet frosty relationship. This exclusion, lasting nearly 50 years, highlighted a clash between comedic styles and industry politics, as well as a persistent undercurrent of gender assumptions about the value of women in entertainment. In interviews later in life, Burnett reflected on this exclusion with humor and dignity, acknowledging that she did not need validation from every platform to measure her worth. Her understated response, "I guess they didn't need me, but I didn't need them either," encapsulates her philosophy of self-respect, perseverance, and letting her achievements define her legacy rather than the opinions or preferences of others. After Harvey Korman's departure from The Carol Burnett Show, CBS faced the daunting challenge of finding a replacement co-star who could maintain the high energy and humor that audiences had come to expect. Enter Dick Van Dyke, a beloved actor known for his work in Mary Poppins and The Dick Van Dyke Show. On paper, he seemed like the perfect fit, charismatic, experienced, and highly respected. Hollywood buzzed with excitement as CBS launched a promotional campaign, plastering posters across Los Angeles showing Burnett and Van Dyke smiling together, laughing as if they had been performing partners for years. However, the initial optimism soon gave way to behind-the-scenes tension. Van Dyke came from a background in Broadway and pre-recorded television, where performances were carefully choreographed and pacing was controlled. Burnett, on the other hand, had honed her craft in the fast, spontaneous environment of live television, where timing, improvisation, and audience feedback dictated performance rhythm. This difference in style led to creative friction. During rehearsals, Van Dyke frequently requested line changes, arguing that certain jokes or phrasing felt too soft or feminine, clashing with his idea of strong, dynamic comedy. Burnett, committed to her signature style of humor, rooted in empathy, relatability, and warmth, remained patient, listening to his suggestions but refusing to compromise the essence of her performances. Writers and crew members noted the tension, describing how rehearsals that should have been lively and collaborative became exercises in negotiation and compromise. During live shows, Van Dyke occasionally paused mid-scene to adjust delivery or request line changes on the fly, creating awkward moments in front of the audience. Despite the challenges, Burnett maintained professionalism, ensuring that the show's quality never suffered. She adapted when necessary, but stayed true to her vision of comedy that celebrated ordinary characters and everyday experiences. Over time, the dynamic between Burnett and Van Dyke stabilized to an extent, but the partnership never recaptured the effortless chemistry she had enjoyed with Korman. This period underscored a consistent theme in Burnett's career, navigating collaboration with strong personalities while preserving her creative integrity, proving that even in moments of tension, grace and resilience could prevail. Throughout her career, Carol Burnett faced challenges that range from interpersonal conflicts with co-stars and industry figures to public misunderstandings and personal betrayals. Each obstacle required a different kind of response, sometimes legal action, sometimes calm assertiveness, and sometimes quiet resilience. What stands out in all of these experiences is Burnett's ability to maintain her core values: kindness, professionalism, and respect for both her colleagues and her audience. Even when excluded from major opportunities, dismissed by peers, or confronted with inappropriate behavior, she responded in ways that reflected her character. With Harvey Korman, she demonstrated leadership and assertiveness on set, balancing authority with compassion. In dealing with Joe Hamilton, she navigated a complex intersection of love, trust, and business, ultimately protecting her creative rights without sacrificing her dignity. With Marlon Brando and Cary Grant, she established firm personal boundaries, showing that even interactions with the most powerful figures could be managed with grace. In her exclusion from Saturday Night Live, Burnett exhibited patience, humor, and self-respect, refusing to let rejection define her worth or her career. Even in the face of Dick Van Dyke's criticism, she prioritized the integrity of her work over pleasing others. Together, these stories illustrate the remarkable resilience required to succeed in Hollywood, especially as a woman in comedy during a time when the industry often undervalued female performers. Burnett's legacy goes beyond her Emmy wins, memorable sketches, or celebrity status. It lies in her ability to navigate adversity with intelligence, poise, and an unwavering commitment to her craft. Her experiences serve as lessons not only for performers, but for anyone seeking to balance talent, ambition, and personal integrity in a competitive environment. Burnett's story proves that success is not measured solely by applause or awards, but by the ability to maintain self-respect, learn from challenges, and continue creating meaningful work in the face of obstacles. The life and career of Carol Burnett offer valuable insights into the complexities of human relationships, professional integrity, and personal resilience. She faced conflicts that could have derailed her, yet she consistently turned challenges into opportunities for growth. The stories of Harvey Korman, Joe Hamilton, Marlon Brando, Cary Grant, Lorne Michaels, and Dick Van Dyke are more than Hollywood gossip. They reflect the realities of navigating competitive, high-pressure industry. Each encounter tested her patience, resolve, and ability to balance empathy with assertiveness. Burnett's handling of these challenges, whether setting boundaries, confronting betrayal, or responding with calm professionalism, demonstrated a profound understanding of human nature and the dynamics of collaboration. Importantly, Burnett's story also emphasizes the value of maintaining one's voice and principles even when others may try to overshadow or undermine them. She consistently prioritized respect, creativity, and authenticity, choosing to let her work and character speak louder than criticism or conflict. As she reflects in interviews later in life, success is not just about fame or recognition, but about preserving integrity, fostering relationships, and creating work that resonates with people across generations. For aspiring performers and professionals alike, Burnett's experiences offer timeless lessons. Navigate challenges with grace, uphold your principles, and allow your achievements to define you rather than the opinions or actions of others. Her legacy reminds us that kindness, resilience, and talent are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they often combine to create the most enduring impact in any career or personal journey. Through laughter, perseverance, and a refusal to compromise her values, Carol Burnett became not only a television icon, but also a role model for strength, dignity, and enduring power humor. Even into her 90s, Carol Burnett remains a figure of admiration, not just for her humor, but for her resilience and perspective on life and work. In rare interviews during this period, she has candidly reflected on the men who challenged her, the betrayal she endured, and the moments when her boundaries were tested in Hollywood. Looking back, Burnett acknowledges that each conflict, whether with co-stars, producers, or industry titans, taught her lessons that shaped both her career and her personal growth. For instance, the fallout with Harvey Korman, while painful, reinforced her ability to confront disrespect directly and with calm authority, showing that leadership involves courage and clarity, even in emotionally charged situations. The divorce from Joe Hamilton, marked by legal disputes and betrayal, demonstrated the importance of separating personal feelings from professional matters, preserving her creative legacy while maintaining dignity. Encounters with Marlon Brando and Cary Grant highlighted the significance of establishing personal boundaries, even when dealing with admired figures whose behavior overstepped acceptable limits. The long-standing exclusion from Saturday Night Live was perhaps the most frustrating, yet it provided a unique opportunity to show that success is not solely defined by recognition or approval from others. It is measured by one's ability to maintain integrity and continue producing work that resonates with audiences. Burnett's reflections in her 90s reveal a remarkable mindset. Rather than dwelling on grievances or lost opportunities, she emphasizes learning from every experience. She often recounts that kindness has its own strength, that humor grounded in empathy endures longer than fleeting acclaim, and that personal principles are more valuable than temporary validation. Audiences and younger performers looking up to her now can see how Burnett's career is a masterclass in balancing talent, human decency, and resilience. She continues to inspire through public appearances, interviews, and her willingness to discuss challenges openly, reminding everyone that even in a cutthroat industry, maintaining dignity and empathy is not only possible but essential. Her legacy is thus twofold: an enduring record of brilliant comedy and a life that exemplifies strength, tact, and emotional intelligence. Carol Burnett's story is not just about the conflicts and betrayals she faced, but also about the indelible mark she left on television and comedy. Through decades of performing, producing, and innovating, she created a space for humor that celebrated humanity, relatability, and compassion. She broke barriers for women in comedy, demonstrating that empathy and sharp wit could coexist on the same stage. Her encounters with figures like Harvey Korman, Joe Hamilton, Marlon Brando, Cary Grant, and Dick Van Dyke illustrate that her career was not free from challenges, yet she navigated them with patience, wisdom, and assertiveness. Each conflict shaped her approach to performance, collaboration, and public life, helping her understand the importance of boundaries, trust, and self-respect. Beyond her personal triumphs, Burnett's influence extends to future generations of performers who see her as a role model for combining talent with ethical professionalism. Her story encourages others to confront adversity without compromising values, to transform obstacles into lessons, and to recognize the lasting power of kindness and integrity in professional settings. Even in situations where she was undervalued or excluded, Burnett consistently let her work speak for itself, allowing her enduring popularity and critical acclaim to counteract any negative actions by peers or industry gatekeepers. Her humor, often rooted in ordinary life and the triumphs and struggles of everyday people, resonates because it is authentic, relatable, and timeless. In this way, Carol Burnett's legacy is both personal and universal. She remains an icon of resilience, empathy, and laughter, showing that true greatness lies not only in talent, but in the ability to navigate challenges with grace, leaving an indelible impression on both the industry and the hearts of audiences worldwide. Carol Burnett's journey through Hollywood is a testament to the power of talent, resilience, and integrity. Her experiences with men who challenged or betrayed her, whether through personal, professional, or public conflicts, highlight the complexities of navigating an industry that often underestimated women. From confrontations with co-stars like Harvey Korman, to the dissolution of her marriage with Joe Hamilton, to navigating late-night intrusions from Marlon Brando, to public slights from Cary Grant and creative clashes with Dick Van Dyke, Burnett consistently demonstrated poise, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to her principles. These stories, while filled with drama and conflict, are ultimately a celebration of Burnett's strength, humor, and emotional intelligence. She turned challenges into lessons, disappointments into motivation, and adversity into a platform to assert her values. Her refusal to compromise on integrity, her careful management of personal boundaries, and her steadfast commitment to authentic humor offer a blueprint for navigating both personal and professional challenges. Through her remarkable career, she proved that success is not just about fame, awards, or recognition, but about maintaining dignity, cultivating empathy, and leaving a positive impact on the lives of others. Carol Burnett's legacy will continue to inspire, not only as a comedy legend, but as a model of resilience, wisdom, and grace in the face of life's trials. For anyone seeking guidance in their career or personal life, her story is a reminder that laughter, kindness, and integrity are among the most powerful tools one can possess. Carol Burnett, known as the Queen of American television comedy, is widely celebrated for her warmth, charm, and ability to make audiences laugh across generations. From the 1960s to the 1980s, she reigned supreme on television with The Carol Burnett Show, captivating viewers with her humor, improvisational talent, and relatability. Her approachable personality and innate kindness earned her the love of millions and the reputation of being one of the most gracious and professional stars in Hollywood. Despite her public image of grace, humor, and generosity, Burnett, like many legends, had her fair share of conflicts and disappointments behind the scenes. In recent years, particularly in rare interviews during her 90s, Burnett opened up about the men who had caused her the greatest distress. Individuals who were not strangers but those she trusted deeply, including co-stars, husbands, and fellow Hollywood icons. These revelations paint a vivid picture of the struggles she endured in both her personal and professional life, showing that even the most celebrated figures face betrayal, ego clashes, and the painful consequences of misplaced trust. One of the earliest and most notable conflicts in Burnett's career involved her longtime co-star, Harvey Korman. The two were celebrated as one of the most harmonious comedy duos in television history. Audiences believed that Burnett and Korman had an effortless chemistry, capable of creating laughter without a single misstep. Behind the cameras, however, a storm was quietly brewing. By 1974, Korman's demeanor had shifted, according to costume designer Bob Mackie, who noted that Korman had grown increasingly short-tempered, grumpy, and distant, even avoiding Burnett backstage at the Carol Burnett show. The tension reached a breaking point during a rehearsal featuring guest singer Peter Clark. A simple lighting error left Korman partially in shadow, triggering an outburst. He threw his script to the floor, yelled at the crew, and even complained that Burnett herself seemed indifferent to his frustration. Burnett, known for her calm professional leadership, stood up quietly but firmly. She told him, "Harvey, I've had enough. If you can't respect everyone here, you don't need to be here anymore." The entire studio fell silent, and Korman left the set. Although he later apologized and returned to the show, the once strong friendship was permanently altered, leaving a lasting reminder that even successful partnerships can be fragile when egos collide and professional boundaries are tested. While professional conflicts challenged her on set, Burnett also endured profound personal betrayals, most notably with her husband, Joe Hamilton. The pair had once been considered the golden couple of CBS, a partnership that blended personal affection with professional collaboration. Hamilton, a seasoned producer, had played a key role in guiding Burnett's early career and producing the Carol Burnett show. For a time, their partnership was harmonious, with Burnett providing the warmth and Hamilton the structural support that kept the show running smoothly. However, over time, the pressures of fame and career ambitions caused strain. Hamilton became increasingly controlling, asserting authority over scripts, guest lists, and spin-off projects. His actions went beyond mere professional oversight. He attempted to claim ownership of projects like Mama's Family, based on Burnett's sketches, without her consent or credit. Burnett, who had always approached her work with integrity and fairness, confronted Hamilton, only to hear him coldly dismiss her concerns with the words, "It's business, not emotion." This betrayal was compounded by emotional distance and rumors of infidelity, ultimately leading to a bitter and protracted divorce in 1983. Despite the personal and public difficulties, Burnett retained the rights to her show's name and half the syndication profits, demonstrating remarkable resilience and clarity in protecting her creative legacy while navigating one of Hollywood's most challenging asset disputes. Beyond her co-stars and husband, Burnett also encountered uncomfortable situations with Hollywood legends, including Marlon Brando. One night in 1972, she received a phone call from the acclaimed actor in the early hours of the morning. Initially polite and complimentary, Brando's conversation began to drift into increasingly personal territory. Burnett, recognizing the importance of boundaries even in Hollywood, ended the call with tact and firmness, asserting her personal limits. The story quickly reached the press, with various newspapers speculating about the nature of the call. Despite the rumors and public scrutiny, Burnett chose to avoid Brando completely afterward, demonstrating a clear understanding of the importance of maintaining personal integrity and boundaries in both private and professional contexts. This incident highlighted a key lesson Burnett carried throughout her career. Even in the presence of immense talent and fame, respect and personal agency are non-negotiable. Another public humiliation came in 1968, during a Hollywood gala where Cary Grant, the beloved star, made dismissive remarks about Burnett's comedic style, calling her work soft and overdone. While some might have reacted with indignation, Burnett responded with poise and quiet confidence. She replied, "Maybe people prefer laughing with real folks rather than with perfection," and walked away. The media briefly covered the incident, And although Grant never apologized, Burnett used a moment to reinforce her approach to comedy, empathy, relatability, and a celebration of ordinary people. She understood that criticism, even from a legend, was no reason to compromise her creative voice or self-respect. Finally, Burnett faced professional exclusion in the form of being ignored by Saturday Night Live, one of television's most influential platforms. Despite her status as the queen of comedy, SNL's creator, Lorne Michaels, reportedly dismissed her for not fitting the show's edgy, politically charged style. For decades, she was never invited to host, even though fans and critics believe her presence would bridge generations of comedy. Burnett, however, did not publicly complain or express resentment. Instead, she maintained her dignity, stating later in life, "I guess they didn't need me, but I didn't need them either." Her response exemplified a core principle she carried throughout her career. Success is not measured solely by recognition, but by the integrity, professionalism, and warmth one maintains in the face of challenges. After Harvey Korman's departure from The Carol Burnett Show, CBS sought to fill the void with another major star. They brought in Dick Van Dyke, a beloved actor known for his charm, physical comedy, and Broadway experience. At first glance, this pairing promised television gold. Two legends sharing the stage, ready to entertain millions. The public response was immediate and enthusiastic. Newspapers ran glowing headlines such as, "A dream duo. Two legends of American television join forces," while CBS plastered promotional posters across Los Angeles, showing Burnett and Van Dyke laughing together. However, behind the carefully crafted publicity, tensions were brewing that would test Burnett's patience, professionalism, and adaptability. Unlike Korman, whose conflict had been driven by personal ego and insecurities, Van Dyke's disagreements with Burnett stemmed largely from differences in comedic approach and performance style. Burnett had been raised in the fast-paced rhythm of live television, thriving on improvisation, quick timing, and natural, spontaneous reactions. Van Dyke, in contrast, had extensive Broadway training, favoring slower pacing, precise choreography, and dialogue-heavy sketches. These contrasting styles clashed from the very first rehearsal, with Van Dyke often requesting line changes or adjustments that he felt better suited his interpretation of the character. Burnett, committed to maintaining the authenticity and flow of her sketches, found herself quietly resisting these changes, understanding that altering the essence of her performance could undermine the show's success and alienate audiences who had long cherished her style. Behind the scenes, crew members reported tension during early rehearsals. Director and writers observed that while the interactions remained professional on the surface, there was an undercurrent of frustration that sometimes threatened to boil over during live recordings. Despite the challenges, Burnett did not publicly criticize Van Dyke or the production. She handled the situation with her trademark calm, subtle assertiveness, and unwavering commitment to the show. Her approach reflected years of experience navigating Hollywood's complexities, balancing professionalism with personal integrity. The public never saw these struggles, only the polished result. Sketches that retained the warmth, humor, and relatability that had made Burnett a national treasure. This period exemplified another recurring theme in her career: the constant negotiation between collaboration, artistic vision, and maintaining personal standards. Even in the face of conflict with another beloved star, Burnett prioritized her values, showing that professional success is not just about talent, but also about discipline, patience, and self-respect. The creative clashes with Van Dyke also revealed a deeper truth about the nature of collaboration in Hollywood. Even when two highly skilled, well-intentioned performers share the same stage, their approaches, instincts, and priorities can differ significantly. Burnett's experiences with Korman, Hamilton, Brando, Grant, and later Van Dyke illustrate a pattern. She consistently encountered challenges when working with individuals who either misunderstood or undervalued her style, vision, or boundaries. Yet, what sets Burnett apart is her response to these challenges. Rather than escalating conflicts or compromising her standards, she employed a combination of grace, strategic patience, and quiet authority. This approach allowed her to maintain control over her work, preserve her dignity, and ultimately ensure the show's continued success, even when navigating difficult personalities. In the case of Van Dyke, though the tensions never escalated to the dramatic level seen with Korman, the constant negotiation of comedic style created a sustained undercurrent of professional stress. Nevertheless, Burnett's handling of the situation demonstrated her mastery of interpersonal dynamics, her deep understanding of comedic timing, and her unwavering commitment to the art form that had defined her career.